Well, hello, my couture crafters. I do not usually shoot intros for my arts and crafts things, but I was sitting here and I was already shooting videos, so I figured same shirt, same hat, same background. I still haven't put up the stuff from the other one, but we are going to knock this out and we're going to be okay with it because you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. So I'm going to show you this beautiful tag. I think it's beautiful, but I guess I'd be a little biased for many reasons. One, it's an NBC Nightmare Before Christmas themed Christmas tag. This tag, yes, is very large, but it is meant to go on a gift. I don't care how big it is. You guys give sweaters, you guys give outfits and pants. People give things other than gift cards, I guess. Maybe I'll do a gift card tag because maybe people don't give things outside of gift cards anymore. But if you do, this was a pretty awesome project. I basically built a shadow box on top of a Tim Holtz etc. tag. That's exactly what I did. I mean, this is a hard wooden tag back here, and these pumpkins are hiding some lights. Let's see if I turn them on. And then you get, let's see if I can turn this off here, a shadow box. It is lit up. If I were doing this again, I would put one more layer of lights right here in front of lock, shock, and barrel, but it's gorgeous. You have to see it in person, and of course you'll see the photographs and stuff in the video. But yeah, this is a tag that is basically a shadow box that I did just because. And I also use that new foiling system from Cricut. It works, it's okay, but I think the foiling system from We Are Memory Keepers is a little bit better, because if you think about it, Cricut has a foil sheet that basically is like a rub and buff kind of thing. Like you rub it and then the foil, it's a pressure system, and so then it foils. And it's not really super duper duper shiny the same way that heat activated foil is. So if you got the Glimmer foil by Crafter's Companion, or if you have the We Are Memory Keepers that uses heat, I think you're going to like the results a little bit better. Or if you're using the Mink, I think you'll probably like those results better. But it works, you know, but I think the results you might like, if you really want that super shine, you might want to go with either the Mink, the Glimmer foil, or heat on top of a heat activated foil. But that's just my little opinion. So again, a shadow box here. I'm going to show you how I did it coming up now. Thanks so much for coming by and watching. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and I will see you on the next video. Bye-bye. I cannot believe that I shot an intro video. What? All right, guys, let's get into this tag. This is an old paper stack by Recollections that I still have around because if you guys remember, I got rid of all of my 12 by 12 stacks and I'm kind of regretting it. I didn't have the greatest stacks, but I'm kind of regretting that I did not keep some of my stacks. Somehow I must have lost some footage, but basically I put the tag on the piece of paper and traced it, and then just took that, took the razor blade and then just traced around it. I know I lost footage because you guys would have laughed. I am not good with a X-Acto knife. That's not my gift. Now I cut out all of these layers. Now with the layers, I did it on my Cricut, and I merged two different files. So I went on Etsy, I looked up Night Before Christmas, they have shadow boxes, and I just took two of the designs and I cut some pieces off of one design and merged them with the other, so on and so forth. It was a very long, detailed process to get things where I wanted. Some of the pumpkins are Cricut pumpkins. I just played with it in my software until I got tags that I liked and welded, and I did all kinds of things. It was fun. So I don't know that this is necessarily a video that you can follow, but it's kind of interesting to see how I did it, in my opinion, and I taped it, so why not? Let's just go with it. Now all the layers behind the tag do not have that tag top, so they're just regular rectangles, you see. And then there's some rectangles that are already cut in the bottom. That was the design of the people who originally had this. Shadow boxes come in like 9 by 9 or 12 by 12. I've resized it. I mean, I really played with this quite a bit. I'll link the two designs that I married and you'll see them. So in order to light it up, I needed to drill a hole. So I just grabbed my little Dremel. And of course, the darn hole wasn't big enough for me to stick the lights all the way through. So instead of drilling again, I just took a file and filed it until the hole was big enough. So I got a bunch of these, what are they, foam squares, and they were just not as thick as I wanted them to be. And I was so annoyed by that. I thought I was going to have to stack them up or whatever. I mean, I bought a ton of these off of Amazon and I wasn't paying attention. They're just not super thick. So if I need them to be thicker, I'm going to have to stack them up. I didn't end up using them. I had some other ones, but I love that they're black. Black foam squares are the way to go. They just hide a little bit better. But these are not that thick. So this is me trying to stick that thing through, and I managed to do it. And I had to figure out which way was up. And now I'm just fiddling with it and trying to figure out where this is going to go exactly. So now here is me building the shadow box. I'm taking the foam squares and I'm putting them around, but I'm leaving room around the edge because I want to tuck the top layer under here so that it gives me a finished edge on the side. I'm hoping that I'll be able to show you guys that once we get there. So I'm being very careful about where I'm putting these foam squares. That is that 3D foam bag that you see at the top of the screen right there. Those are the actual foam squares that I ended up using because the other ones were just so thin. I mean, they add a little dimension, but I would have had to stack maybe even 3 on top of each other to get the dimension I was going for. It ended up being about a 1/2 inch thick, which is cool because again, I was just building a shadow box on top of a Tim Holtz etc. tag. Now, thankfully, we have these holes at the bottom so that I can feed these lights through. Now, when you flip it over, remember, you have to remember what side is going to be closest to the lights and all that kind of stuff. I had fun doing this project, but again, now that I'm trying to explain it, I recognize that I was doing the most, as usual, but it's super cool. So the way that I affixed this wire behind, I love Tim Holtz tiny lights, and that's what I'm using, Tim Holtz tiny lights. Love them. I love the little mechanism. I love how you can cut them and they will still work. I love how you can bend them. I love the size of the lights. I love how they light up. I'm just a fan. I know that there are other ways to light things up out there. I saw a lighting mechanism on Trinity stamps, but you kind of got to be an engineer of sorts and understand how to plus and minus and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not saying that I can't figure it out, but this is just a little bit easier. And to affix it to the card, I'm using good old hot glue, and I have one of those super fine tip hot glue guns that I'm using for this. I think it's just a Surebonder glue gun, probably relatively inexpensive from Joann's or Amazon. And I just hold the wire there until it catches, until it dries, and I can wiggle the wire without it moving. So now I'm threading it through those holes and I'm checking my first layer. I think I just turned off the lights to see if what it's gonna look like. And I'm pleased. That back layer is vellum, and it's a thicker vellum, and I like it, and it's got Oogie Boogie on there. And now I'm going on top of Jack and Sally layer. So the next layer are the pumpkins. Again, some of those pumpkins I used from Cricut, and I just edited the pumpkin to have the face and then cut the face out on the hill, which was pretty cool. And now I'm using the small foam dots. I can put these all the way at the edge. I'm not worried about wrapping the sides. This can go all the way to the edge. You'll see it. Hopefully, I'll show you guys at the end of this. Because I basically just made a little box. I don't know. I don't know how I did this, guys. I just did it. you can see that I'm doing it. I just did it. So again, putting these little foam squares all over the back. I wish I had used black foam tape, because every time you put a square down, you got to take the stupid paper off the back, which is a pain in the patootie, but I went through it. I did it. So now I'm checking to line this up. Because it's tape, you really only got one shot to get it right. So when you flip it and it touches, it's pretty much stuck on there. So you gotta try to get it right on the first shot. There's no wiggle room. I did pretty good. I found it easiest to sit it up and face it toward myself. And you can see this is a pretty good shot of how thick it is. Those are, I think those are an eighth thick. I think. Maybe a little more. I don't remember. I have not taken the release papers off of the very back ones yet. And I've got to be careful with what is showing so that it doesn't attach. I was putting the release papers back onto one of them because it was trying to stick. So you've just got to be careful. So now we're checking the next layer. Look at those jack-o'-lanterns. Aww. I like this layer. I think this is this isn't my favorite layer. My favorite layer is the one that I did not light properly, which totally stinks because I should have put one more round of tiny lights on here. I hate that I didn't do that. And this is not a project that I would probably do again. So, no, but I never do stuff again. That's why I say it's a one-off. If you want it, claim it. Tell me you want it because it's the only one that I'll be making. So I'm feeding the lights through. With the Tim Holtz Tiny Lights Halloween series, they did they did purple and orange lights. So in the pumpkin that I did maybe a couple of videos ago, which I love the rainbow pumpkins, you'll see that there are orange lights on one side and purple lights on the other. Love those tiny, I wish I had bought more because, you know, sometimes Tim will do stuff and be like, oh, it's discontinued, which makes me sad. But those Halloween lights, those orange and purple ones, and then for Christmas, they came out with the multicolored lights. I did not get those. I don't have a reason to have them right this second. So on this layer, it's just a spooky tree. I love that spooky tree. Look at all the little curls and whatnot. It kind of reminds me of the spooky tree that's on the pumpkin thing that I did. It doesn't matter. These can go all the way to the edge. Not a big deal. You just want to make sure you're not covering up any of the tree so that you see the black stuff behind it. So some of them I had to cut. Some of them are super duper tiny, like itty bitty pieces, just to provide some support for the tree so it remains dimensional. And we are looking at the lights. Here I am cutting them up. I like to use Tim Holtz scissors because they're non-stick. So you really don't have to worry about these little foam squares and stuff sticking to your scissors. If you use regular scissors, you could be up the creek because these are kind of sticky. And also these little tweezers from, I think they're from Tweezerby, I think. They are non-stick also. So I don't have to worry about the tweezers sticking to the little foam things either. They're very helpful. If you guys don't have a set of tweezers next to you, they will change your craft life. Good to have. So I am checking to see how everything is laying, if anything is being caught, if you can see any of the little foam squares behind there, but it looks good. So now I'm going to weave the second set of lights behind the spooky tree. So each light set lights up, I think, 2 layers. And I think I did 5 layers, which is why one layer did not have lights on them, which makes me sad. So close. This was so close to just being perfect in my mind. I am putting right here the wire on the foam. Not a big deal. It's going directly across it. Not a big deal. It'll be fine. I'm trying to keep the light as close to the opening as possible so that it casts onto the shadow box so that you can see it. If I push it back any further, it would be more difficult for the lights to light. Remember, these are itty bitty lights. They light, but they are super tiny. So we're trying to get all that we can from these little lights. Again, I'm going to put my Etsy, or the 2 Etsy accounts that I used, at the bottom in the description bar so you guys can see which 2 I married. Again, the jack-o'-lanterns, I took the jack-o'-lanterns out of one of them and I used the Cricut ones because they were better. They were bigger. I wanted to change the sizes. With Cricut, it can cut super tiny, but I prefer not to cut super tiny, intricate things because it gets upset. Sometimes my Cricut will eat through my paper. You guys know how that goes. So I'll sometimes enlarge stuff, weld stuff, and just kind of make it your own. Play with it. Once you learn those functions on Design Space, you can really do just about anything. And when you learn how to marry Sure Cuts a Lot with Design Space, that's when, oh my goodness, that's when you really can do just about anything. Sure Cuts a Lot is like Design Space. You can now use it again with Cricut. In the very beginning, you were able to use it with Cricut before. And you'll probably see it called Scal, SCAL. And I think they're at like 4 or 5.0 now. And it's just a really cool software that allows you to create your own SVGs and just, I'm telling you, the world is at your fingertips with that. You can do, if you can think it, you can probably make it. And they have lots and lots of tutorials on YouTube about Sure Cuts a Lot if you're not familiar with that software. So apparently I felt the need to show you guys me weaving this whole thing, which is taking forever. This could have been a 15-minute video, but oh well. Hopefully I don't show you me taking all these papers off because that could take forever. It did take forever because there's a ton of these little foam dots back here, but oh, really? I'm going to show you. Wow. All of them, huh? Some kind of editing I was doing, guys. Don't worry. It'll get better. With these tags, I promise. I won't show you me taking all the release papers off and stuff. I'll cut this stuff out next time. Maybe I just wanted to spend some time with you guys. Who knows? This is what happens when you get an intro video with the things. See, I get all confused and don't edit stuff properly. Blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to stand it up again because that's the way that I'm getting the best success, I think, with lining these up properly. Because I don't have a lot of wiggle room. I sized this to be just about the exact same size as this tag. I wish they sold the SVG cut of that tag with it so that I don't have to go around and cut with I could just cut it with my Cricut like bam, and then it'd just be the perfect size. But oh well. Look at that purple layer. I love that there are orange and purple lights. Like it just makes me so happy. I wish I had lit up this last layer. When I turn off the lights, you can see it. I mean, you can see Lock, Shock, and Barrel down there, but if you're familiar with Nightmare Before Christmas. But I hate I didn't light up that last layer. It drives me insane. So here is where it gets really funky. I'm creating a shadow box, so I am cutting the borders of how I'm going to build the shadow box because I had to go straight off the cuff. And it's been a while since I've built something like this. I haven't built any, what was I making, mini albums or anything. I just haven't done anything for a while. So you're going to see me struggle a bit here. I cut these at 1 inch and I'm scoring a 1/4 inch from both sides, which is going to give me tabs. And then it leaves me with a 1/2 inch in the middle, which is going to be my gusset. And so I'm just folding over now. And I used my EK Tools scoreboard, which I love. I whip that sucker out anytime I need to score anything. I love it. So now I'm measuring the bottom and the sides because I need to build a box. So I'm leaving a little bit extra to make a tab to fit like a Lego with the other side. Here I'm scoring that and I'm making the tab right now. And there was no actual, oh, look, earthquake. Just kidding, it wasn't an earthquake. I kicked the camera. There was no exact measurement. I'm just making a tab so that it bends over. And of course I'm off camera right now, so you can't see that that little tab fits right in the side. And it's all black, so you really can't see. And I'm off frame. What kind of video shooting was I doing? It's going to be so many thumbs down on this one, huh? This is not helpful. I don't know. If you can build stuff, you'll get it from watching it. You'll get it. If this is your first time, I would say that this is not a beginner-friendly video. So now I'm just making a duplicate of what I've already done. On the sides, I only needed one tab. I needed the tab to fit into the bottom slot. And I'm just scoring and cutting it to make that little tab that you see right there. I didn't measure it. I just did it. And now you can see that it's just building like a little box. And then I decided I needed to do these little side tabs. I thought about clipping them and making it curved, so making it just one long piece. I'm not exactly sure why I didn't do that. I don't know. You know, there's definitely more than one way to skin a cat. I just did not. I don't know. I just chose not to curve it all around. I could have made one long piece and just walked it all the way around. And had I done that, I probably would have run into a few less errors. I didn't account for the score line, which means everything was just a smidge too big, just like a smidge. I should have cut everything a little bit smaller. I'm scoring on both sides from the markings, and then I'm going to make tabs that fit into the other side. You'll see. I did not measure. I did not do exact measurements. I just marked it with a pencil. And so now I'm cutting off the excess to make those little tabs. Bam. I'm just cutting at an angle and then cutting straight, cutting at an angle and then cutting straight, just making notches and then tossing those. And now I'm going to fold over on the score lines. And now I have my two diagonal size gussets. And to make that, I have no idea how I made that tag shape. When I say I have no idea, because I know I didn't put it in the Cricut and make it cut it. I think I just cut it as a regular rectangle and then took my X-Acto knife and took the corners off, measuring it up against the tag. Yeah, that's what I did. And then I just cut out that circle with my knife and then put a spacer, not a spacer. Then I cut another circle and glued it down over that circle so that it was finished. So I just cut this as a rectangle, measured it on top of the etc. tag, and just took off the angles. And then did the same thing and removed that circle with my knife. And then in order for it to look finished and not choppy, I just cut some circles and put them over there, put them on top of the circle, just to make it look clean. And now I am gluing these things down. See the little tab? You just tuck it down in there. I'm not sure if you saw before, but it was a little bit long, so I just cut it. I just cut the ones on the sides just a little bit. Everything was just a smidge too big. Here I am trimming it right now. I trimmed off probably less than 1/8, but I didn't account for it. Again, I'm out of practice. I haven't made anything in a while that I had to come up with completely myself that wasn't a pattern, a pre-made pattern, because this is not a pre-made pattern. This is just me doing the thing. And here is a close-up of how that tab works. So I just made sure that those were lined up and then stuck that tab in. And there we go. because I want the edges to be finished. I didn't want you guys to be looking at the side of the shadow box and looking at all the mechanisms and the foam. No, no, no. Now you have to remember, if you want to be able to change these batteries, pay attention to which side is up and which side is down. So as you can see, they're finished. So I just plopped the foam and whatnot in the inside of the box and then just glued it all down. That part was just that simple. These are the Ton pumpkins, and I just happened to have made a couple of extras, and since Jack is the pumpkin king, I went ahead and glued them on the back. Nothing special. I just was trying to hide the things, and I did not want the pumpkins to be seen from the front. Just something else to think about, to consider. Look at these. Aren't these pumpkins pretty? I just love the Ton. The Ton can do no wrong. So with the Cricut, I played with the Samantha font. Oh my goodness, guys. If you guys don't know about playing with the Samantha font and adding serifs and swishes and swirls, oh, it's just lovely. And they have YouTube videos for that. There's no way in the world I would try to explain that to you, but I went ahead and made my own to and from. And usually I like to weed, but this weeding went badly, and I think I ended up screwing up a couple, and that's okay, because it happens, and I had plenty of black vinyl, so I'm just weeding out this stuff, trying to get it out. Again, that's why we have tweezers, because those tweezers will really help you out when you have to get the little itty-bitty nitty-gritty pieces. Isn't that pretty? I'm using this to and from on the back of, I think, all of them. All of the tags that I'm going to make. I don't know. We shall see, because at this point I have only made 3 and I claim I'm making 12. I don't know. We'll see. I've got a couple of more designs in my head for sure that I think can come to fruition, but I don't know. We'll see. And I am rocking it and approaching it from different angles until I can get it to release. And I'm using that same release paper over and over again. It's still sticky. And I'm hoping that these tags are actually used on presents. I don't know who's getting this one. You know, I just make stuff and give it away. I never keep my stuff. So I don't know who will be getting this, but whoever it is, I hope they totally like Nightmare Before Christmas and they love this tag and they keep it and display it. So this was a fail. When I say a fail, I mean a fail. I bought these trims from Michael's. They have like this trim section all of a sudden that I had never seen before. And it's a ton of trims. And I was like, black and white? Oh, if you want me to buy something, just put it in black and white, because I probably will. And I'm trying to make it like a tag. So I'm trying to send everything through the holes that I've made. And obviously this is too bulky, but you would think that I would have figured that out a moment ago, right? I'm like, no, it's going through. So I twisted it up and pulled it and got some more tweezers and pulled it through. No, no, and no, just wrong. It went so badly. And look, I keep going. You talk about somebody who doesn't know when to stop. Look, this isn't even smart. This is just not smart at this point. It's all short, failing, and continuing to fail, like still trying to make it work, like something miraculous is going to happen. Just wrong. Yep, I do stuff like this, guys. And I don't cut it out the video. Nope. I'm letting you see. Just look. And thought about it, thought that was a bad idea. But I know that I want these trims on here, and I know that there's a way. So I just went ahead and stretched them all out. Lined them all up and hot glued them to the very top of the tag, which is cool because it made them fall in a way that makes it kind of look like a big pretty bow, which makes me happy. I wish that I had painted the sides of the tag black so that it would have been a little bit more fluid, but you live and you learn. So I'm putting some hot glue there, and I put hot glue like between the layers, and I just kept going until everything was hot glued down, and I tried to center it. I love these trims, but of course I would because they're black and white, and I love all things black and white. Look at the little pom-poms. They're cute. So cute. Again, going between the layers and holding them. They make silicone tools so that you don't burn your fingers with these hot glue guns. I suggest that everybody get them because they are very helpful. I have some silicone tweezers and I have a silicone like pointer tool that's basically an extension of my finger. And again, I suggest if you use a glue gun, get it because I burn myself many a day with the glue gun for no reason when I have those tools around. So you guys should get some too. I think Mod Podge made them. And then I just tied one string through the top. And that makes so much more sense. And we just cut that at a nice angle. And finally, we're finished. If you made it through with me, I appreciate you so much. Don't hate me too much. This was more just a show and tell than it was a tutorial. Again, I hope you check me out some more. Okay, bye-bye.